bunch of spots.
Okay.
You know what I'm trying to say? So like they can't just be like they have to eat like around it.
Yeah, that's exactly what she does. She basically eats it like she thinks we're in Final Destination, and this is going to be her last meal for the next 30 weeks. So,
Final Destination is a movie where you die suddenly, like, and you see it happen in your mind's eye before it happens, and you try to avoid it, but like you die anyway. Final Destination doesn't really apply there.
I guess what I'm saying is that she just sees death happening soon at some point, or happening in the future, and she'll never eat ever again.
No, she's probably food insecure that like she doesn't know where her next meal's coming from. She probably doesn't think she's gonna die.
Like, a little bit from the shelter place that she was at for a week, where the way they feed and how much they feed and the way they do things.
Yeah, that's like I said, food insecure.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think she probably conceptualizes death. Unless she had like a family member die or something like that, maybe. But
yeah, I guess that's true. Well, welcome back, Row 26. We're here, Hots, Heads, Dreamers, Sixers. Another episode. We're in the tank. We're in the think tank right now, about to talk about some NFL playoffs, little college football playoffs. NBA's in full swing. Knicks are fucking terrible and fake. We're going to talk about that maybe a little bit. But Johnny, how's your week?
Oops, sorry.
See you.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, week's good. Fucking got shit going on. I don't know what the hell's going on with my phone right now. Sorry, hang on.
You're good. Do your thing.
All right, better now. All right. Yeah, fucking week's good. Everything's good. Had a good workout today.
Let's go. What'd you work on today? It was upper body, lower body, do a little bit of everything. What are we looking at?
Chest and back, and I went like max on incline and bench.
What are we looking at nowadays? What are we maxing nowadays,
John? Today I could probably go more, but I also did like reps before. But then instead of the last set of like 4 to 6, I was just like doing singles. So I started at 235, 240, 245, and then 250. I couldn't get. But if I went like straight to 250 from like the reps, I probably would have got it because I got 245 pretty easy. But then
so you didn't have like the momentum, the flow. You're like,
well, I just fatigued. I did 15. I did set of 15, set of 12, set of 8, and then I did 235 for one, 240 for one, and 245 for one.
Do you find it harder maxing out on your back or on your chest?
I never really max on my back because there's no like lift that people are like, yo, what's your max lat pull down, or like what's your max row? Like nobody, you know what I mean? It's just like
lower
not
back
like
is like you squat, right? So squatting could be considered lower back workout.
I don't squat a lot. I deadlift, which is definitely lower back. But that's like hamstrings and lower back. Lower back, you can like do the thing where you lean and like hold the weight and then almost do like
you like lean over that leather thing.
It's like a reverse crunch, I think it's called. You know, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's really good for your lower back. But then
it hurts. You do that. When I used to go to the gym back in the day, at some point or another.
No, that's a good one.
You know,
today I just did lap. I did lap pull downs, and then I did. It's like I don't even know what it's called, but you like stand up like this, and you
pull in.
You keep your arms straight and you have your back like that. Like you have to kind of like stand with like your knees a little bit and like your chest all the way out, and then you just pull it straight down. You can't like bend your arms. You have to keep it straight, and it like brings out your lats. And then I did fucking like I did the incline flies, and then I turned around and I'd do rows with the dumbbells right after. Rows. I superset everything, so I do chest and back right after. So I'm not in there forever.
Fucking John, bro. This is what it takes, people. You understand? You're trying to look at it right now. You're trying to get healthier in the new year. Trying to feel better about yourself, about your life. Trying to make the days go a little bit quicker. Get to sleep a little bit easier. Get to the fucking gym.
Stairmaster, abs, and sauna, too. I was there for like 2 full hours.
Life.
Yeah,
I used to live this life when I was going to 24-hour fitness when I was living at home when I came back from China, and I would just be living at 24-hour fitness and playing basketball, doing basic workouts, and living in the steam room like straight up.
I'm like too intimidated. I'm like the old guy now at the basketball court. Like the
guy that overpasses, the overpasser.
I barely play, but when I do, I'm trying to chuck. I'm trying to get my shots up.
Yeah. I'm just like, that old man in the park where he only shows up just to curate the offense, and it's like he wants to do all the dishes and it's like watching Adam Sandler.
He does a lot of this. Like,
yeah, exactly. He's like, you roll over there, you roll over there. He's like, he's coordinating everyone. He's never gonna shoot the ball. He'll be right under the hoop for an open layup. nope, kick out, quick pass. Like everything's the next pass. So
Greg Sullivan was like that in like Vesta already.
Yeah. That's a good.
He's just only looking Greg Sullivan only looking to pass.
Let's go. Let's get into it. What do you want to get into first? Do you want to get into the slate?
No, yeah. So we're gonna do a little like reverse ranking. We're gonna put our fan hats on. You know, we're Row 26. We sit in the crowd. You know, we're a fan podcast. We're not fucking, you know, Brunson and Hart. You know, like we're just fans. We love the game, and we also hate teams. So we're gonna go through who we want to win the Super Bowl the least. Start there, work our way to who we want to win the Super Bowl the most. I have my list. Zach's going to react, say where he disagrees, where he agrees. But before that, we do have to address one thing. Zach is a confirmed late guy. I have to say, Zach says, I have to start realizing when Zach says a time, it's a half hour later. And that's how I am handling Zach's time.
All right, so here's the problem here. This is the real big, we have to acknowledge the elephant. All right. The real thing is that I live with a late person. It's not actually that I'm a late person. My mom would agree. At the wedding, one day, you can ask her in the future, whenever at dinner, whenever the fuck you see her again, you can ask her and confirm this. I'm a very punctual, neurotic human, actually. But I live with a Puerto Rican woman who is a late person. So I'm not fully blaming her. I can be late sometimes, and it is soft to kind of blame her. But be clear, any Puerto Rican who watches this pod will tell you that they know their culture is imminently late to things and fashionably late. We'll call it fashionably late to keep it positively connotated.
I was going to say, when you first said Puerto Rican, I was like, what does her being Puerto Rican have to do with it? But then you just came right out and said it without me even, getting it.
I'll over-explain it because I have to die on that.
No.
You get into that there, then I'm going to look like an asshole.
More so that, it's just I thought I was going to have to like coax it out of you, like, yeah, Puerto Ricans are late, but you just came right out and said it.
Over here. And to Christy's credit, she's admitted that, for the record, she's one of the quickest Puerto Ricans.
All right. Well, the counterpoint is, if you're an early person,
knocked over my mic.
And I thought it was your headphone. If you're an early person and she's a late person, how come her lateness has impacted you more than your earliness has impacted her? But I guess if you're just an on-time person, then I guess the lateness.
She just texted me a GIF because she can hear us potting in the other room. Here's what she said, verbatim, in a GIF. It says, "A queen is never late. Everyone else is simply early."
Fair enough.
Princess Diaries. I don't know these quotes, but
happy wife, happy life.
When it comes to living with a girl, John knows this. When it comes to living with a girl, like, you can be affected. And also the dog thing, I still haven't gotten used to her schedule of doing extra tasks that I don't think about.
Oh my God, it's Christy's fault. It's the dog's fault.
Everybody's fault.
You're just, I stay.
You never brought this up in 5 years of potting.
I stick my. Well, I'm bringing it up now, and I'm sticking with my stance.
What are the variables that have changed?
I'm sticking with my stance. You're a half hour. Take what you say and move it a half hour. That's you now. I don't care who you passing the buck to. I'm fucking rushing out of the.
Fair enough.
Fucking rushing around, fucking trying to cook after the gym. Now I gotta hurry up. Nah, fuck that. Half hour guy.
New year, I will work on. It's only January 11th. We're still in the first month of the new year. I will work on making sure that when I say a time, I will be there, and the link will be in your message box by said time.
I accept that you blaming the fiance. When you start blaming the dog, I draw the line. You should dictate the dog's schedule. The dog doesn't dictate your schedule. You're supposed to be the alpha.
And to be clear, we live with one of the best dogs who never bothers me and never asks, like, pantingly to go out and shit and, like, asks to be fed and is annoying at all. So it's a complete cop-out. But that's okay. We're living.
No, but you just said she threw up everywhere. I'm sending you a link to the bowl that I was talking about.
She did. She didn't throw up everywhere, but she just ate too fast. So some of it came up, which is the first time we've ever dealt with that. She's never done that before. Well, the last week, she's done two things she's never done, which is a littlest bit of poop. She pooped in the house. She couldn't control it. It looked like it was just like a fart that turned into a poop, it seemed like. And then the other one. Well, this is in the home.
Did she not alert you that she had to poop, or
she does it in places where she didn't alert us? It was a spot of the moment. She looked like she was trying. I guess she was trying to fart, and it just happened. It was like a splurt out of her butt.
Yeah. I never even seen a dog shark.
She does it in places though that are good. She knows not to do on carpet. There's multiple carpets in our apartment, and she did it on the wood floor.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
The dog shart. I don't know if that's a thing. That's crazy. I guess it's obviously a thing if it's a
Apparently,
human
in
thing.
female dogs, there's like a little. When they were cleaning her and doing her in the beginning, when they did her nails and all that stuff when we first got her, apparently there's a little button in their butthole that you can press, which makes them shit, or it makes like a stink thing come out. It's specific to women, apparently.
Is she spayed?
She's spaded, yes, she is, but they still have it in their butt. We
Interesting.
didn't. I don't know. It's what veterinarians.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shit
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting
No,
stuff.
yeah, super interesting. All right, we're getting into the NFL now. We just had to get that off the top. All right, so I think this will be unanimous between the two of us. The last team we want to see win the Super Bowl of the 14 teams is the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's correct. My boss at my new job, he's an Eagles fan. Fuck him. Fuck the Eagles. We never want to see Sirianni win a game in the playoffs. He's not likable. We don't really like Jalen Hurts on this podcast. We respect him to a point, but we're not fans.
I'll die on the hill that Jalen Hurts is a fringe top 10 quarterback, and if we get into just like passing ability, he sinks lower than that. You know,
right?
He gets rid of the ball late. He doesn't throw guys open. You know,
he's a momentum quarterback.
He has the best offensive line in the NFL, the best wide receiver tandem, maybe top 2 or 3 at worst, if you want to say, you know, Chase and Higgins.
You pass catcher total, and you add in Goddard, and you add in Saquon.
Well, just say JJ and Addison or Chase and Higgins at worst, they're third. You know, with you know AJ Brown and Devontae Smith.
Healthy with Nico is like an argument, maybe.
I don't know.
But
yeah, they're getting old. They're not healthy now, so get them out. You know, right now they're a top 3 tandem, no matter what. And then you have the best running back, or if not top 2 or 3 again.
He's the best in my opinion. I like him more than Henry.
And clearly the best offensive line in the NFL. And what has Hurts shown you this year more than just like he's pretty good, you know, like.
Yeah, they win all their games because they play an NFC schedule, and it just seems like there's a lot less teams in the NFC that are competitive this year. There were games scheduled on their slate. I'm sure the NFL thought we're going to be a lot more competitive, and these teams ended up not being good. There's a lot of teams. There's a couple teams that surprised us, I think, between like the Denvers of the world, whatever the fuck, and who else was surprising this year on the NFC side?
I mean, it's not. I don't even
in general surprising.
I don't think it's a weak schedule thing. I think they just have one of the best rosters in the NFL. But like,
I think it's a combo of both. I think the reason that other teams are so weak is because they've been poached, and now a lot of the good players play for like 4 or 5 organizations now. Like you see teams like the Baltimore Ravens with Henry on the same team now as Lamar. You see Nuke joining the Chiefs. You see some of these more like, even if they're over the hill stars, still prominent players joining the best teams. These teams getting stronger and stronger. It feels like even Kareem Hunt rounding his way back to coming back to help the Chiefs during the middle of the year when Pacheco was out and playing good football and keeping their win streak alive, helping them with that run game. He played good football for them. So it's like even like it's like just feels like gravity where these good teams get better every year in the offseason because these players want to go play for them in one sense, or it just seems like they only have to go for specific needs on their team, so they can always take best available at like a corner or something when they're hitting so many times on these drafts. Like Howie has hit so many times on between trades and drafts that now it's just a rolling it becomes like a rolling ball for these great teams where they just get greater and greater and greater because they don't have to address these other concerns, because these other concerns, like when you hit on a McDuffie and you hit on a Bolt.
I don't know. You're on some sort of rant right now, but talking about like great teams don't only get better. There's ebbs and flows. The Eagles are a good team right now. Last year they lost their last 6 games in a row and got blown out in the playoffs.
They still made the playoffs, though.
But did they get greater and greater, or did they go to the Super Bowl and then lose in the first round by 23 points? You know what I mean?
You can't get greater than the Super Bowl.
You can win the Super Bowl. They lost in the Super Bowl. You can get greater. And 2, they got much worse. They lost in the first round by 24 points and lost the last 6 games of the season. I'm just saying, you just went on like some sort of like.
But I'm just saying that they're still that great team. And this year proves that last year was the anomaly, because this year they're just dominant. And again,
they just got better. They added so many pieces. They added Saquon, Zach Bond, Mekhi Becton, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. You know, obviously they had guys who take steps up too, but just to be like, oh yeah, that was an anomaly. No, they like you said, how we added guys
last year and they got better. But that also speaks to what I was just gesturing at, which is that in the offseason, they don't have to go after offensive line or defensive line, or they don't have to go after Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and nickel corner. Like, they don't have to draft prominent players because they hit. They don't miss. The Giants miss on quarterback.
But that's the thing. They do have to draft those guys and hit. That's been empirically evident.
Like these good franchises, like over the last 10 years, the Eagles have been in the playoffs how many times now? It feels like every year.
I don't know. They've never won the division more than 1 year in a row because no NFC East team has. So I'm just saying they're not just like some sort of juggernaut. They won the Super Bowl 7 years ago, you know, with Foles and a crazy season. And
since the Foles year, have they missed a divisional round?
I'm sure. I think Doug Peterson got fired. They obviously, I think they.
Oh, when they turned it over and Wentz got traded and they drafted.
And then they went 9-7 in Sirianni's first year. They were 9-7 in Sirianni's first year. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the Eagles aren't good. They're really good. I'm just saying this whole concept that you just kind of, like I said, when we were talking about Jalen Hurts being average, and it just went into these good teams just get greater and greater. I'm like, that's really not the case. They had a great offseason.
As a Giants fan, the last whatever years, it just feels like
teams that are from the Giants
Super Bowls are like
the talk of the Giants.
That I would say is like the big flip on its head. Like, obviously they're a big and a losing franchise forever. They didn't go to a Super Bowl with like McNabb, for example, back in the 04 or whatever.
All right, I'll put it to you like this: the 49ers have been the best team in the NFC for the last few years. You know, obviously they lost the Eagles when Purdy got hurt, but then this year they fucking shit the bed. That's football. You don't just get greater and greater. It's fucking a sport. You have to play the games. You know, the Eagles are going to have
like McCaffrey, Greenlaw, like big players. Like
the Eagles are going to fall off. You know, like. And like you can say, McCaffrey got hurt, whatever. McCaffrey got hurt, but that doesn't mean that the whole franchise should have became like a top 12 draft pick. You know, like they could still make the playoffs without McCaffrey.
I think they were doing okay for a little while, but then they lost Ayuk, then they lost Jordan Mason, they lost they lost Greenlaw, as mentioned. Hufanga missed.
Greenlaw got hurt in the playoffs last season. Like you know, like
they were a very severely banged up team.
But that's just football.
Yeah,
they don't just get greater. Like I just think your take of like all these good
conclusion. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, there's take of these great teams that get greater and greater. Then there never be any parity.
It feels that way.
Like you're saying, I guess from a Giants fan, when they're never good.
Life, Philadelphia has never been competitive.
Cowboys won 12 games in a row 3 years, and then this year they suck.
This year, the Cowboys being shit is, in my opinion, is a chalk up to Dak being hurt. As far as I'm concerned, they're an 11-win team when Dak's in. Like, I'm not looking at it like
that. They definitely had problems before Dak got hurt.
I think the defense was a little underrated, and it got exposed because of bad offense. And I think Cooper Rush actually.
Well, they had injury. You're talking about the 49ers injuries. There was a time where Diggs, Bland, Micah, and Lawrence, your four best defensive players, are all off the field.
Out in the beginning of the year?
Yep, I said that. Diggs, Bland, Lawrence, and Micah Parsons were all not playing at one point. Like
that's what I'm saying.
But either way,
you're telling me you're not an 11 or 12 win team? Possibly?
I don't think so. No, I was watching them when they were healthy. But my point being is that like there's always ebbs and flows. Like I don't like what you're saying. Like where like free agents just want to go to the best teams. Like it's not like basketball where the contracts are guaranteed and there's like a maximum amount you can make and it's all tiered off and leveled.
Yeah,
like, guys are gonna go where they're gonna get their bag, and it's not even like Henry got paid that much. Like he said he wanted to go to Dallas. Like this whole concept of these guys just like picking and choosing where they go, I totally disagree with.
I think that there is more of that in the NFL now than ever, but I do agree that it's still different than the NBA and the way it's slated and the way players can choose.
Like Tony Pollard went to the Titans. Why wouldn't he go to the Chiefs? If he was just like, let me just go to good teams.
Most money going to the Titans, yeah.
Exactly. That's my whole point.
Sure.
They're not picking and choosing.
In the sense that he thought that they were going to be competitive. I think a lot of people thought the Titans might be competitive.
Yeah, no, but if you did, you're an idiot.
Their defense,
like Will Levis.
Defense is number 2 for the season. If they had decent quarterback play, they could have been a playoff team. They were meddling for a little while.
No, they're the number 1 overall pick in the draft. And you're going to say they're like competitive.
They're like playing decent football.
They're the least competitive team in the NFL.
Yeah, by the end of the season, yeah.
The
Giants are right there.
They're so competitive. All right.
They were a competitive team.
They were not competitive. What's their point differential?
I'll look it up right now. Let's see. Titans. point differential. Let's see here. So their point differential minus 149.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, not good.
Losing by over a touchdown a game. And that's with their wins included.
That's how much that is?
Yeah, 150 divided by 17 is probably like 8.24 or something like that.
Okay. I mean, losing by a touchdown a game, if you're a 4-13 team, like I'm sure the Giants have a higher point differential.
They're not even 4-13. You just gave them an extra win.
3-14, excuse me.
Yeah, not competitive team at all.
Not a competitive team at all, but if they had a good quarterback, the roster was not bad. Number 2 total defense, and then you have Pollard, Ridley, whatever the guy's tight end name is, kind of talented.
Crazy.
I don't know.
All right.
For yourself.
All right. Well, we'll mention
it's all the quarterback, John.
We'll mention the matchup on the second team that they're playing. You know what I mean? So when we get to wherever the Packers are on my list, we'll talk about the matchup.
All right, cool.
So the next on the rankings is the Commanders. They're still in the division, and I don't want all 3 teams in the division to have a more recent Super Bowl than the Cowboys.
Or the
that
Giants.
would be the case if the Commanders won.
Correct. Agreed.
Well, the Giants would still have one more recent than the Cowboys, but yeah, you still want to stay ahead.
I just don't want anybody. I don't want the most recent Super Bowl to be an NFC East team that's not the Giants.
Yeah.
So,
after that, I mean, we like I said, we'll talk about matchups later. After that, I have the Chiefs as my third least wanting to win the Super Bowl.
You don't want to see it.
Yeah, I don't want to see a three-peat. I mean,
have you ever seen a three-peat? Like a legit three-peat?
No, not in our lifetime. I don't know if it's ever happened. Maybe the Steelers back in the day. Not in our lifetime.
Niners wasn't 3 in 3 years. It was 3 in 4 years, right? Or 4 in. Well,
4 in like 7. 4 in like 7 years or something like that. Maybe longer. That was a long time.
How many? They definitely had a back-to-back. I think Montana has a back.
The Cowboys won 3 out of 4. The Patriots went back-to-back in the early 2000s. Yeah, Patriots won 3 out of 4. I'll say it right now. There's no one's had a three-peat in our lifetime. Maybe, like I said, the Steelers in the 80s. I mean, in the 70s.
That's the craziest thing, John. A three-peat in football?
Yeah, it's insane. It really is. And this Chiefs team is better than last year's Chiefs team, without question in my eyes.
I agree. Especially if they have a healthy Pacheco and now Mahomes gets a couple weeks of rest. I mean, they're killing it.
I mean, their defense is really the star of the team this year. I mean, they haven't. I don't think the Chiefs scored 30 points once all season. I don't think the Chiefs have really played a game where they needed to outscore anyone. I think that when they do need to score, Patrick Mahomes does have the ability to turn it on. And compared to last year, the pass-catching weapons with Worthy involved, Noah Gray taking a little step up, you know, and the acquisition of Hopkins during the season, they've significantly improved the wide receiving core or the pass catching core.
I saw Hollywood making some plays last game.
Yeah, and Hollywood Brown, who returned from injury. That's true also. So they have now that. So last year, where they had Kadarius Toney, I guess dropped by that point, but they're running out like Justin Watson, at their like number 1 wide receiver spot. And now they got Hopkins, Worthy, and Hollywood. I think, like I said, the Chiefs team is better
with those guys like Watson. So those guys.
That's what I mean.
Experienced,
Yeah. And they still have those guys. That's what I'm saying. So I think the team's better than last year, but that's not a guarantee to win it. Next up, I have the Steelers. The Steelers have, I think, the same amount of Super Bowl rings as the Cowboys. They're close to it. I don't want them to win. I don't really like Russell Wilson. I like Mike Tomlin. But I don't know. I don't really like the Steelers.
I don't know. Talking about Tomlin also, this is a hot take maybe. But not that I don't like him. I think he's a great coach. I think he speaks the gospel when he's talking to his team. When I was listening on Hard Knocks and stuff like that, he says the right things. But something about him is off to me. I don't know what it is. It's stale, maybe the word. But I don't know. Something's off that team will never get above where they are currently, and like they will just always be kind of the butt of the AFC. It seems like right now, they keep trying to put band-aids on their quarterback.
Butt of the AFC.
like the butt of the good teams of the AFC. Sorry,
like the
butt of
playoffs.
yeah, like meddling in the playoffs, but never getting to it, like Ben Roethlisberger and that.
Yeah, no, I think Mike Tomlin's an awesome coach, a leader of men.
Coach,
like
yeah.
you know, like I like Mike Tomlin. I do like Mike Tomlin. I think it was funny when he like tripped the guy one time, like onto the field. Yeah, I like Mike Tomlin, but
I like him. Yeah.
In terms of this, but on the Steelers though, like I'm not a big TJ Watt guy. I like Minka Fitzpatrick. He's cool, but there's no one that I'm like, oh, I fuck with heavy on the Steelers. And like I said, I guess there is a bit of like the old Cowboys-Steelers rivalry. Like me being a real football historian, like I do hate the Steelers from the 70s. Like the Cowboys and the Steelers were the big rivalry.
Legendary. You know? All the old films when you watch the beginning of the introductions on Fox or any of that shit when they pan to the old players.
Those Lynn Swan crazy catches against the Cowboys in the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the Jackie Smith famous drop in the end zone, that was the Cowboys into Steelers in the Super Bowl. Like those are big, they stick with me. So I think I still have some hatred towards them for that. So Steelers come in as my 4th least favorite team or 11th favorite, whatever you want to say. Then we have the Packers. I hate the Packers. They've been killing the Cowboys in the playoffs for a long time. They do have some cool players. I've always been a big Josh Jacobs guy. I do fuck with Jordan Love. Like I hate Jordan Love, but I do think he's really fucking. When he's good, he's super good. Like fucking throws missiles.
There's issues there with him. I don't know what it is, but like he doesn't seem like the guy that can like be the best player every game. Like he really does take those. He really has bad games. Like he doesn't have average games.
He's a gunslinger. He's like the last true gunslinger.
4 picks straight up.
Yeah, and he'll throw 5 touchdowns.
4 picks or 4 duds. Yeah,
but he'll do that in the same game too. You know,
straight
like
up.
He's
receptions, 350 yards, just fucking gunning it. Yeah,
he's like a Favre. You know,
yeah.
But he's got crazy talent, especially arm talent, and he can move a little bit. So I like Jordan Love, but I hate and you know, I guess we could start talking. This is the first matchup we could start talking about, and that game we talked about texting a little bit. This is a more dangerous matchup than whoever the Eagles may face in the next round. You know,
for sure.
Be that the 6 or be that the 6 or 5,
Bucks,
whatever.
One team I would maybe push back on just to play devil's advocate that maybe has given Philly some problems and they're not afraid to go into the link and win. They did it last year in the playoffs. They did it. They beat them this year during the regular season. Shorthanded. The Eagles are shorthanded. Let's put that out there.
I would argue that the Packers' experience as a 7 seed going on the road against a 2 seed is kind of that same kind of confidence they're bringing to the table, or experience, however you want to call it. I know the Bucks have had the Eagles number, but I think what the Packers did last year as a 7 seed going to Dallas and obliterating them. The game was over by halftime.
That was the Aaron Jones show, right?
Aaron Jones, Jordan Love, that was the whole team on fire. You know,
the Eagles
the Eagles are a lot more equipped to play from behind than last year's Cowboys team. They do get off the slow starts. But I think a slow start against this Packers team, they get a 2-score lead in the first or second quarter. They can maybe start feeling that same energy they felt last year of like, oh, this is our moment. And don't forget, they also played the 49ers really tough last year.
I want to ask you something off this. Just like a side question based on something that you're kind of gesturing at, but not fully. And I heard someone talk about this. There was people talking about that Burrow and Chase are responsible for the Bengals defense being poor because they score so fast and they throw the ball so much and they don't know how to run it. And do you think like teams are like the Packers would be maybe another candidate where they go away from the run, they start bringing in Emmanuel Wilson, they only use him on the goal line, and during the middle from the 20 to the 20, they're slinging it so fast that it puts the defense at risk of being out there too long on time of possession, all that bullshit. Anything on that?
I mean, I think that's just a bad. I mean, the Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow scoring too fast. That's not even close. Yeah, that's just bullshit.
Yeah. I thought so too. I was like, I've been literally. I read it like 2 days ago, John, and I was waiting for the pod to talk about it. So I'm glad you said something about Jordan Love throwing the ball. Like, I don't know why his offense kind of relates in a sense to this.
Well, I think the Packers defense is much better than the Bengals.
I'm not even like going there where like
but I mean just to take this take and fucking obliterate. But that's just someone trying to say something that sounds different, to sound smart. Like the I don't think the Bengals offense is it's not like they're Chip Kelly running the fucking hurry up and not taking time off the clock. It's not like every single, Jamar Chase touchdown is 75 yards. He scores in the red zone. He gets open, all over the field. He goes over the middle.
Still sectioned out as they go down.
Yeah, they're not scoring. They're not Oregon Chip Kelly scoring in 2 minutes, and then putting the defense back on the field.
When you pass stops the clock.
The second layer of this fucking argument is the fucking Bengals personnel on defense isn't good, especially in the secondary,
right?
And then especially at the linebacker, they have decent D-line play with Hendrickson being a star, obviously. Mm-hmm. But then you go to the secondary and you have Cam Taylor-Britt can't fucking cover a fucking penny with a blanket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking
Mr. PI.
Mike Hilton does his best, but he's
older.
He's probably like a good number 2 corner. He can't be your shutdown guy going against other teams.
He's your base
receiver.
He's your smartest player on the field, arguably, and he's your base nickel.
And I honestly can't even think of their safeties off the top of my head right now.
A couple good decent linebackers. Sign. Pratt's a decent linebacker. Logan Wilson's a decent linebacker.
I think Logan Wilson is a tackling machine. Yeah. He gets a lot of tackles. But I wouldn't even give him run. I think his tackles are like 5 or 6 yards down the field a lot of the time.
I know.
Or like after
the line of scrimmage, it's all like as it comes to him. Yeah.
After a tight end makes a catch, ass tackle. You know what I mean? Like he's
good take. Good take.
He maybe has lost a step. I remember him, coming out of college from Wyoming. He's a decent player.
Great. But, in the Super Bowl on their run, he was playing lights out football in their run to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, for sure.
Yeah, their D-line was better than too. They still had, I want to say Reeder and the other big D tackle. Yeah, Sam Hubbard. Yeah, exactly.
And they also had Jesse Bates, and they also had Von Bell. They had a whole
they had a lot of better players. But all right, we'll keep it moving. Just real quick, Eagles-Packers. Give me your prediction.
Yeah, so I like your take about Love. I like Love in a sense. Love in a vacuum, as some people say. I'll take Love on the Giants any day. But I do think that, the Packers are not a team that seems like a step-on-your-throat team. So even if the Eagles come out slow, as I think they will, because Hurts coming off the injuries, hasn't played in a few weeks, he might be a step or two slow. Like, I could see something like, if you want to, for you betting folks out there, maybe take the Packers with the points in the first half, and then you maybe get on the Eagles train in the second half. That might be a nice little cooked up layup there, especially if the Packers get up, let's say 21-10, something that's sniffy, kind of just hovering around. If it gets ugly, like the game against the Cowboys, like you said, that's where it could be one of those moments where it's too much weight, and the Packers defense will settle in and play fast. But I'm excited to see it. I hope the Packers win. I don't love Matt LaFleur, but I don't hate Matt LaFleur. That's what I'll say.
He's a better coach than Sirianni, but
that's a fact.
I don't know. I don't necessarily love Matt LaFleur either. I think he's a little conservative for today's NFL. A lot of guys, obviously the Siriannis, even to give him credit, the Dan Campbell's, the guys.
Irrational asshole.
yeah, whatever. We'll keep it moving, but I'm going to just say, because I'm not going to predict the Eagles to win. So I think the Eagles have a great shot at winning, but I do think there's probably a 35 to 40% chance the Packers win also. I don't think this is by any means a lock.
Cover?
I think the Packers will cover. I'm going to go Packers to win the game. I'm going to say 28-24.
All right, and then give me one player from the Packers that you think is going to hit their over on their yards.
Are we doing this every game? I don't know.
No. Just for this one.
I'll say Jordan Love.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's keep it moving.
All right.
I'm going to throw just one out there, maybe every other one.
All right, sounds good. The next team that I have and who I don't want to win the most, we're getting towards the halfway point, I guess. Packers were 10th, technically. So we're at 9th, is the Rams. The Rams are kind of cool, but I don't know. They just won recently. Not a big McVay guy. I like Stafford a lot. Puka a lot. But other than that, I'm whatever on the Rams. I guess
I like Verse a lot, bro. Big fan.
That's true. The LA fire's going on right now. I guess I didn't think.
That's also the other thing. And also, shouts to LA, yo. All that good stuff.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers and all that. but my brother-in-law Nick is a Rams fan. So
okay, so you'll move. They might be a little higher, or they might be over.
Yeah, I lean towards them a little bit more.
Okay, so they're under.
Minnesota.
They're higher than all the other teams. So far we've been pretty lockstep up until here. You think you're gonna take them? We'll see how it goes.
I like the Rams to win that game. I'll be clear. I think the Rams.
All right, but we'll wait till we get to there, like we've been doing.
Yeah, okay.
So the next one I have is the Broncos. So Broncos have won fairly recently too with the Von Miller. They're a cool little story. Would you put the Rams above the Broncos?
For rooting, like if my fanship?
Yeah. All right, so you have the Rams above the Broncos.
I also, Sean Payton, I have mixed feelings. Former Giant, but also a dick. So like, I don't know. Kind of a pompous ass and like a guy who thinks who the fuck he is in a way. So I don't know if I love Sean Payton. I like me some Bo Nix though.
Yeah. That's why I think I have him over the Rams because I like Bo Nix. I've
always been a Bo Nix guy from jump. I love Bo Nix. Facts. Morgan, all of it. Yeah.
Zach, I have a thing for you here. You talk about how good the Broncos defense is a lot. You said, you like their chances of winning, this weekend because of their defense. Can you name 5 defensive players on the Broncos? Don't look.
All right, I'll try. I might not be able to say full names, but I think I can recall enough names on the team.
You have to give me a last name. You can't be like Dave.
Yeah. No, I'll give you the last name. I don't know if I can pull first name.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll accept. If you get it right, I'll accept 5 defensive players on the Broncos.
We'll do the 2 linemen first with Patino and Cooper.
It's Benito, but I'll give it to you.
Excuse me, and Cooper. Sorry, I forgot the N in there. Benito and Cooper. Surtain. Singleton. I think his name is Alex Singleton. Is on that defense. Is that right or no?
He's been on IR for a minute. I don't know if I'm giving you that one. Well, I guess that's 4. So we'll see how it goes.
Let's see. I know more as I watch them. It's easier, but I don't watch them enough. I guess obviously at all.
There's a good lineman with the same name as you. Same first name as you. He's a white guy. His name is Zach Allen. He's a very good player.
Oh, I don't know him. Maybe I've heard of him, but he's very good, you said?
Yeah, he's really good. Justin Strand is another one.
Strand, I knew that name.
Cody Barton, DJ Jones, Brandon Jones, PJ Locke, Riley Moss. I thought you might get the
Riley
white
Moss.
corner.
Fuck, that was the one. I saw him get PI like a week ago too. Like
Jaquan McMillan.
I wouldn't have got that one, but I've seen that name. He's a nice player.
Yeah,
he's a young player.
Pretty. He's like their nickel. He's pretty good. He's like the fringe starter. But yeah, I mean it's. But if you asked me this,
all right, I'll take it.
I would have been similar. Like I would have probably I would have gotten Zach Allen, and I would have gotten McMillan, and I would have gotten Moss, but I would have been in the 6th range.
Coordinator.
It's what's his face? Vance Joseph.
Damn.
I think so. I honestly, I know he has been.
That's right, 100% the black guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Vance Joseph. He's the coordinator for the Broncos. Yeah.
I just double checking.
I was double checking myself. I was pretty sure.
Me up there though. I was like, wait, am I?
No, I was. I guess I was just bugging for a second. I was like, because I don't necessarily remember him from this year.
I just remember him and Sean Payton and the relationship, and that's the only reason I was like, when you said it, I was like, that's 100%.
I almost want to say he was there before Payton got there, though.
He was the head coach.
He was the head coach at some point, maybe something along those lines.
That was the whole thing. He was the head coach and he slid for Sean Payton.
Yeah, sometimes I get the coaches confused. Some of them look alike, but whatever. We'll keep it moving.
Yeah, to speak to your point, I do think the Broncos as a team, their defense is cool. They have good ends. I think Cooper's a fucking animal and just only getting better. Josh Allen though, that's the problem. He's not going to let it happen.
All right, moving on. The next team we have going on my list. They are now into my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're my 7th team I want to win. So we're at the halfway point, and that is the Baltimore Ravens, who are playing the Broncos. So we could talk a little matchup here too. So do you have the Ravens lower?
Well, the Ravens beat the Giants in the Super Bowl, so forever, I will never like and want the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. But this is the first year I've ever had Lamar Jackson in fantasy, and he did a great job for me and played great. And I had Henry, and he won me a championship. So, and I shit on Henry this offseason about how their run game would look. Hots was like, you're fucking crazy. And of course, Zach is always fucking crazy when Hots says he's crazy, because that's just how it goes. And Henry ran wild. So, even though Hots did give me and admit that they did run more out of I.
A little more, yeah. No, I watched it. Yeah, a little bit more.
We'll take our dubs and we can get them on this side.
No, but I won't give you that. Like the pistol is more like under center than shotgun. Than it is like shotgun. I won't give you that. That's fine.
But I still stand by that a little bit anyway, because it still sets
up. Whatever. We're not relitigating this. We'll call it a draw. We're not going to relitigate it, even though I have an edge, but we'll call it a draw.
Fine. But that's mainly the reason I don't like them. I also think Ray Lewis is a murderer, and they won a Super Bowl in the year. And in that year, and I don't like them. I do love Ed Reed, so I'm glad they got that for him. And there are other guys on that team that won, but in general, the Ravens I just don't like. I'll just leave it there.
So, do you have?
I'm not a John Harbaugh guy.
So, do you have the Ravens lower than the Rams on your teams you want to win? Lower than the Broncos?
No.
Okay, so basically it goes Rams, Ravens, Broncos, and then the list we agree on. All right, yeah, and in this matchup, I know we talked about it a little bit already, the defense giving the Broncos a shot. Where I landed on it is I wouldn't be shocked if the Broncos won, but I would be surprised. If I'm not mistaken, these teams already played this year, right? And the fucking
the Bills and the Broncos?
No, the Broncos and the Ravens. That's who's playing this weekend.
No. The Ravens play Pittsburgh.
Oh, excuse me. All right, that's the matchup.
That's why when you said defense, I was like, "Oh, you're talking about Pittsburgh," but then you went back to Denver. I was kind of confused. I didn't know what you were talking about.
I was incorrect. Sorry, I got confused for a second.
You're good.
So Bills, Broncos, their defense gives them a shot, and that's why you said Josh Allen. Yeah,
right. That's the last thing I said there. I was like, "Yo, the defense is good. We just named some players," but the last take that I made was, "It's Josh Allen." Like that's not happening.
Yeah. Josh Allen's a monster. Yeah, it's going to be tough. They're going to have to score a lot of points. As good as their
offense is also better. You talk about teams that are better. They've been using Ty Johnson in the split backfield more, and it's giving them more options as a pass catcher. I drafted Keon Coleman. He seems like he's taking a step to be their deep threat. Shakir is still a pass catcher. Kincaid's healthy. Knox is healthy. And they got Amari Cooper in a trade, who's a stud. So I feel like
and I still have the Bills in this list, so I kind of fucked up there, but we'll get back to the flow. But I agree.
You haven't named them. The only team that's going to be above them for me is the Rams.
But I agree. With everything you're saying, they have gone better. It was addition by subtraction, getting rid of Diggs and letting Josh Allen play a little more free. But moving on, after the Ravens, the team that I want to win the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 most is the Houston Texans. Never won before. Kind of a cool story. I was a CJ Stroud guy. Big time. And then this offseason, he kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Doing a lot of podcasting, very braggadocious.
Commercials.
I didn't like the whole Caleb Williams after the game. Like, you'll be all right, man. Like big brother. They're like the same fucking age.
He big broed him. He big broed him.
Yeah, you're like too young to be doing that. Like, like what if you made the playoffs once? Like, come on. Like, like you had a good rookie year, a great rookie year. Fantastic. Yeah, I had CJ Stroud in my top 5 quarterbacks after last year. But this year, obviously, sophomore slump hit him. I don't know how much of that is mental, maybe lack of preparation. Maybe people, knowing who he is now, catching up with him a little bit. But, I have the Texans right in that spot. So you would have the Rams over the Texans, I'm assuming.
Of course.
You have the Rams very high. What about Texans above the Ravens?
Yeah.
Texans above the Broncos?
No.
Well, you said the Ravens above the Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos are going to be Ravens above the Broncos. So the Broncos definitely above the Houston Texans. I don't love them.
Wait, you just said the Texans above the Ravens, but then you had the.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, Texans above the Ravens, but I have Denver above both of them.
Okay, so you have Denver above the Ravens. Okay, maybe I got confused there. All right.
Yeah, so because Bo Nix takes the cake there for all of them, just as we keep going. Bo Nix is taking that cake. I'm a big fan. We're big fans of Bo Nix.
But I do like D'Amico Ryans. I do like Nico Collins.
Things I do like on that team. Yeah, D'Amico's one. Anybody else you like?
I like Nico Collins.
Mixon. We love Mixon. Would love to see Mixon get a ring. Maybe that's cool.
I am a big Mixon guy. Always been a fan. So yeah, I mean, I like teams that haven't won yet winning. That's always cool too.
And Stingley Jr. is cool. Kid's fire. He's gonna make the Pro Bowl probably. I mean, if he had to make the Pro, if they didn't.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Stingley's a beast. Stingley's a beast. Yeah, and then who are there? So we'll get into the matchup right now. If I didn't fuck this one up, the Texans are playing the Chargers, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So Texans are playing the Chargers.
The Chargers are ahead of all of these teams for me, including Denver.
So Chargers are who I have next. So the Chargers are my 5th team that I want to win. They've never won a Super Bowl. I'm a big Justin Herbert guy. I like Jim Harbaugh. I think that'd be a super cool story if he could go from winning the Natty in college and then winning the Super Bowl the next year.
As a coach?
No, he never won. He lost to his brother in the Super Bowl. Yeah,
he lost to Kaepernick.
Yeah, he lost in the Super Bowl to his brother John Harbaugh.
Right, and he lost to the Giants in the NFC Championship game another year.
Yeah, he had some great runs with the 49ers, but no, he's never won a Super Bowl. He's won a national championship, and for him to win the college national championship and the very next year win the Super Bowl with the Chargers, that would be quite a fucking feat right there.
That's not happening.
We have Ficini in the chat, my brother-in-law. Happy anniversary to you and my sister.
Yo,
hope you guys are fucking enjoying.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Happy anniversary. Hope my nephew's doing good. I'll come see you guys soon enough. But yeah, I mean, Chargers versus the Texans. I think the Chargers are going to win. I don't know where you're at with
that. I think I'm coaching is one thing. Jim Harbaugh, the experience. We were just talking about the Broncos. You just missed it, but we were just talking about basically how we both love Bo Nix. And we hope that, they can upset, but we don't know if they can,
We had Zach try to name their defensive players.
Yeah, wouldn't get one. 4 defensive players on the defense. We did the whole thing. But yeah, we like Denver over here for sure. We like Bo Nix. So we'll see what they do. But Josh Allen, the Omega.
All right, but back to Chargers Texans.
Yeah, let's go back to the Chargers.
I got the Chargers winning. I'm going to go with 21-17.
Yeah,
Chargers defense underrated.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit more scoring, actually. I think it'll be a little bit looser on defense. I think that Ladd McConkey is going to have a great game as he's had all year. He's going to be big for Herbert. Herbert's going to have a problem if he really doesn't connect with Ladd and they really blanket him with Stingley. And if they really just are looking for pass catchers in that game, so that's where it can get a little troublesome. And if Azeez, I think that linebacker's back from the suspension, Al Shire, whatever his name is, who's a dog, like him and Daniil Hunter and then the other Will Anderson, if they can control the run and they can control Dobbins and they make Herbert have to throw too much, it could get ugly. And that's where Herbert can get into some trouble. That's my only concern, especially if they're blanketing Ladd, who's their main, pass catching guy.
I think you're focusing a lot on the Chargers offensively, but I really think the Chargers defense, like I said, underrated. They lead the NFL in points allowed per game. Stroud and the Texans offense especially, no Diggs, no Tank Dell. They are a bit limited in terms of weapons. It's just Mixon and Nico. Yeah, John Mechie, so we'll see how that goes. Dare Ogbawale or whatever. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Dalton Schultz.
But I do think 21-17 feels right to me. I don't think either team is going to really come out and score a lot of points. I think the Texans defense, as not accomplished in terms of points per game and stuff, I do think they have a good defense, like you mentioned, Daniil Hunter, Al Shire, and
coach, so that helps.
Yeah, and obviously D'Amico is a defensive mastermind. But we'll keep it moving. We're into the top 4. I have the Vikings here. Long-time NFL franchise, never won a Super Bowl, from the days of Fran Tarkenton and the Purple People Eaters, till now. And I like Sam Darnold's story, kind of like a modern-day Raiders quarterback. Jim Plunkett. Jim Plunkett, back in the day, what big high pick, gets benched, goes to another franchise, and goes and wins a Super Bowl there. I think that'd be a cool story for Sam Darnold. Obviously love Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison is my fucking guy too.
Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. I was already thinking of Addison. Aaron Jones has killed the Cowboys many times, so I don't really fuck with him. But defensively, I love Greenard, Van Ginkel. We've talked about these guys on this podcast before. We love the team. And Brian Flores as a coordinator.
And the coach, Flores, the coordinator, and then the head coach, I'm a big fan of too. I think he's a gamer. I think he, overheard they filmed from the outside his locker room after they started 0-2 and how he laid into the team and what he was saying and the run that they went on from there after they started 0-2 on the season. And the shit that was coming out of his mouth.
They started 0-2 this year? No way.
Yeah, Minnesota started 0-2. I'm 99%.
Unless they had a 14-game winning streak, they didn't, because they finished 14-3.
Yeah, no, I don't know if they had a 14-game winning streak. I think it got broken up by one game, but
they lost the last game of the season to Detroit, so they had to have had a 14-game winning streak because they finished 14-3.
I saw the video on NFL Net. It was like an NFL Network, like inside tracks, like of his locker room after they started.
They started 6-0.
So what year was it? Last year? Then was that
maybe? Yeah, there's no way, because like I said, there's no way I would have forgotten a 14-game winning streak.
No, it was from the bye. Excuse me, when they lost 2 straight from the bye, I guess is what they were talking about. 0-2 since the bye is probably what it said below, and I didn't see that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
losses. That must have been it. That's probably what it was.
So this is
0-2 from the bye. It probably said that little corp, and I just thought it was 0-2 from the beginning of the season.
Yeah. So this
anyway,
leads
I
into
like Minnesota a lot. I like Hawkinson. I like the receivers. Aaron Jones, I even like. I know you don't, but he was on my championship team in Dynasty. So I like this team a lot. I like the story, like you said, about Darnold, and the defensive players are like underrated, and now they're getting
0-2 after the bye, and their second loss after the bye was this LA Rams team that they're playing here.
I didn't even notice that.
Again, it was on the road, but this game is being played in Arizona because of the fires.
Neutral site. But I did see that the whole bottom bowl has been bought out by LA residents. They got primo to the tickets.
Well, LA residents could very well be Minnesota Vikings fans.
Wow. Very fair point. It's a lot of transplants out here. Good take.
Yeah.
But it's drivable. Arizona to California, that's drivable.
Oh, yeah. Oh, super drivable. But Minnesota, I'm sure Minnesota's going to travel. This 14-win team, every team travels well for the playoffs, too, I feel like. I saw the Lions play the Cowboys in the playoffs, and there was a lot of Lions fans in Jerry World. Nowhere near like 50-50, obviously.
The shooting star for the fucking Lions, they probably thought. So they have to go to that game.
The Vikings, I feel like, obviously, they've had some more success than the Lions, but it's not like the Vikings have a lot of 14-win teams. Obviously, they had that 15-1 team in the late 90s with Moss, Chris Carter, Robert Smith. You know what I mean? Like that Randall Cunningham.
Yeah. And
that was a cool team.
Tice is the coach, I think his name is.
No, that was pre-Mike Tice for sure. That was what's his face, the black dude, Denny
coach.
Green.
Oh, Dennis Green.
Yeah, Denny Green. Yeah, Mike Tice way later. That was like after Brad.
Yeah, I don't know why. Whenever the Randy Moss Vikings, I always think of Tice. I don't think of Denny Green first, which is stupid because Denny Green had the starter on always. He's the fucking most beat up coach.
Yeah. But that team was cool. Obviously, fucking John Randall and shit. That was an awesome team. But but this Vikings team, I think they will travel well, especially like in Arizona. Like the graphics aren't even like there's something about like the colors not being your colors in the stadium. Like it's going to be red. It's not going to be blue and gold.
Manning won the Super Bowl in Arizona. Arizona's a weird fucking stadium. I know what you mean.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not your playing home.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah. Where the seats are red. They're not blue.
Bro, it's crazy. It's like a bowl game.
It's the first time this has happened in the NFL playoffs since the 1930s. A team has had to have a game moved. So obviously, crazy stuff going on. Do you think that is any? I think it's pretty. Even though the Rams won heads up, the Vikings have a better roster than the Rams, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and they should win the game. I know you're a big narratives guy. Do you think the fire in LA 100%. Gives them a boost? What happened
in that Saints game? They almost won that game, and I was troping on this podcast a week before when that shooting happened into the Saints. They were in that game till the end. The last turnover, they were driving at the end of the game. It was 19-20, John, and he threw the pick. They had a chance to win the game. That's all I said that would happen. Is that they're going to play harder. It's not going to be a fucking 10.5 or whatever the line was. It was something stupid. And who were they playing that day? It wasn't Atlanta. It was
the Bucks.
And the Bucks needed to win for the division. I was like, you were like, oh, the Bucks have to win. They're gonna win. I was like, yeah, but be clear, it's 19-20 right now.
And I said the Falcons were
the Bucks go down and score, of course, because they're a better team. And
I said the Falcons were more likely to lose, and they fucking lost.
If the Falcons had played the Saints that day, you tell me right now, the way that everything went, the whole season, the whole thing.
Yeah, the Falcons lost to the fucking Panthers. Of course, they would have lost to the Saints.
Yeah, fair enough. But the point remains is that when these natural disasters or horrible events happen, bombing, shootings, horrible things like the fires, when that happens to a community and the team the coaches lean into this bullshit and they make it feel like you're part of it.
You're playing for the city, galvanize the locker room. I get it.
It juices it for sure. It has to be a part of it.
So you're on the Rams to cover or the Rams to win, or where are you at?
Outright.
Wow. Okay. Money line. Rams money line.
We'll see. I just think put in the playoffs is just like,
if Sam Darnold's going to turn back into a pumpkin, this is when it's going to happen. They do have a great D line, like you said.
His last game, his most recent game.
Obviously, we like Kevin O'Connell as a coach, but Sean McVay has the experience in the playoffs, winning a Super Bowl. And
Google and Greenard, if they go off and go psycho, they can make Stafford stay hell for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying this is probably my favorite matchup of the weekend, wild card weekend. Honestly. I think this is going to be a fun game. Yeah. I'm excited it's going to be fun to see the coaching chess match. I think those guys are super close too, if I'm not mistaken. I think McConnell worked for McVay.
O'Connell worked on the Rams staff. I think he was on the Super Bowl staff. I think he might have been the QB coach.
Yeah, or coordinator or something.
Coordinator, something like that. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
So Kevin O'Connell, I'm almost positive, worked with Sean McVay beforehand. And that'll be a fun coaches chess match. And then the receiving duo on both teams, should show out a little bit.
Do you think either of those receiving duos are worse or better than the A.J. Brown one that you mentioned earlier with Devonta Smith?
Well, I said earlier that you could make the argument for Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison over Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. I think there's so many things that go into it, though. It's like the Eagles have a limited quarterback and a running game that they don't throw the ball a lot. Like A.J. Smith, if you look at the stats, they're not even going to be close.
True.
Because of the dynamics of the teams. But if you just base it on talent alone, it's very close. I would say Justin Jefferson is surely better than A.J. Brown, but I don't know if Devonta Smith and Jordan Addison, I would say Devonta Smith is probably a little better than Jordan Addison.
I would agree with that.
So it's kind of close, But I personally am taking Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
Yeah, I'll take the best.
It's very close.
Yeah, for
sure. I think A.J. Brown's a little underrated because he's so big and strong. He blocks. He's physical. Like I said, he only had 67 catches this year. He's not getting the targets, that these other guys are getting, but he eats. He's a monster. That being said, this game should be fun. We should probably keep it moving. Like I said, my favorite game of the weekend. My third favorite team that I want to win the Super Bowl this year is the Bills.
Mm-hmm. Fuck yeah. Love the Bills. School in Buffalo. Always have an affinity. Absolutely.
Yeah, you got Buffalo ties. Josh Allen is maybe my favorite player to watch. If not, number one, definitely up there. Super fun, does crazy shit. Guns, not the same gunslinger that I would say Jordan Love is, but because I think with the help of Joe Brady, has gotten those turnovers down a little bit, And like I said, maybe Diggs getting out of there, he doesn't feel pressure, force the ball. No one on that, like you said, what's the receiver's name? Shakir, the rookie Keon Coleman, Matt Collins, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. None of these guys are crying for the fucking ball. You know what I mean?
Cooper, same thing. He's not even a diva receiver like that. I've never really heard that from Amari Cooper. Maybe a little.
I know the little thing in Dallas where he said that Dak is the black Kirk Cousins or some shit. But other than he's not wrong. So he's
not bad. Come on.
Well, hang on. All I'm gonna say is, since we just brought up Kirk Cousins, my Falcons take after week one when we did non-overreactions. That was one of I want to stand on my fucking pedestal of that was a great take. The Falcons.
To be clear, I brought up the future bet to you. I think this is what prompted it, I think, because I told you I had the Atlanta Falcons winning the division with the Lions and the Chiefs. And then you were like, you know what, man? And then you just went off about the Falcons.
No, what happened was we were doing they lost week one, and we were doing our overreactions that we think aren't overreactions.
Right.
And I said the Falcons aren't going to win the division.
Like, oh my God, this Atlanta team, Raheem Morris.
Yeah, I was just like, this team with the Bucs in there, and the Bucs and the Saints had great first weeks. Obviously, the Saints fell off, but the Bucs and the Saints both had great first weeks. The Bucs smacked the Commanders, we'll get to shortly, that matchup. But that's a take that I'll stand on. I was like, that was a good ass fucking take. I called that right after week one, that they were not going to win the division, that Kirk Cousins was not as much of an upgrade as people thought he was, ended up getting benched throwing 1 touchdown and like 9 interceptions his last few games, and also Raheem Morris not being a good coach. That team was so talented. There's no reason they should not have won that division. They were minus 250 favorites to win the division going in, and they, and they had control of their own destiny with 2 weeks left.
Control of their own destiny in week 16. What a fucking
lost
pile of
both.
shit.
Lost
pile of
both.
Shit.
Not, like obviously by the last week of the season, the Bucs just needed to win and they won the division, but they still didn't even win when they had a shot against the Panthers. They still couldn't even win that game.
How was Raheem Morris not fired based on that alone?
I don't know.
Where's the pride?
Yeah, and then we got our friend Jermaine standing on 3-1 against the NFC East. So fucking hang a banner, bro. 3-1 versus the NFC East. Congratulations.
That even means though. What does that mean?
I guess it just means like his teams are better than most of our teams.
I don't even mean that. The Commanders are in the playoffs. The
Commanders
are in the playoffs.
The Commanders are the one loss. They beat the Eagles on that Saquon drop. Remember early in the season?
Right.
It was 4th down and Saquon dropped it.
On the side, yep.
Yeah. That was how they beat the Falcons.
Yep. That was nuts.
Yeah, that's how they lost to the Falcons, excuse me. So, yeah, but either way, it's just like...
Eagles also had a bad drop and another loss, the Devonta Smith drop.
Yeah, against the Commanders. They could have
won all their fucking games.
Nah, I mean, they still got lost to the Bucs pretty good.
Well, yeah, the Bucs hammered them without Devonta
either way, they could easily have be 16-1. We'll see. They might have rested people. So whatever. The drops are part of the fucking game. They dropped it, so they lost.
That's
know what I mean? That's it. You got to catch the ball.
You got to run the ball there and not pass the ball to Saquon Barkley.
Exactly. That's Nick Sirianni shit.
Want to talk about it? Let's talk about it.
But back to the Bills. Fucking. Not even more so than that. You got to run the ball on third. Whatever. Never mind.
Yeah, all of it was fucked up.
Yeah, that was so bad. But the Bills. Like I said, they're my 3rd favorite team. We got Ficini saying no one deserves to win it more than Josh Allen. I think he said deserves you more than Josh Allen. I think he's good with Haley Steinfeld. I don't think Josh Allen wants me. Fair. But I think he meant the Super Bowl.
That's a nice catch for Josh. All right, not bad. And she's low-key fire. Like she's not really like out there. So that's a nice catch.
She's good. Yes,
she's good.
But she has one song. What is it? Oh fuck. It's something about shit.
Send it after the pod, or I can put it. I can link it to the pod on the bottom. I'll link it.
No.
Spotify link.
I'll figure it out. I'll have it done by the end. I'll have it by the end of class.
There you go. But on Josh Allen, I'm not a McDermott guy. That's one thing I just wanted to say here. He's the one stale Tomlin-esque kind of coach that makes me worried.
It's funny you say that. You know that they were college teammates at William and Mary.
Interesting. They both have similar styles. Like I like them. I think they're really good X's and O's. Obviously, they're good head coaches. It's hard to find those types of guys. So I don't want to act like either guy is a problem. McDermott's not a problem, and neither is Tomlin. They're opposite of that. They're more of a solution than a problem. But there is something stale. And when you're at a place for so long, it happened to Coughlin. It happens to good old coaches. I think in a way.
I think it's more of a thing that like once you win, it's gone. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why Tomlin, I think I wouldn't even put with McDermott. I think Tomlin is established, legit. I think McDermott needs to win. Let's be clear. And McDermott doesn't win.
You're pressing that wall.
Yeah. And I know the Chiefs are fucking the bane in everyone's existence. And like, you know what I mean? Like it's tough. Like there's been a dominant team, but he's still, if McDermott is in a spot where I'm not saying he's on a hot seat, but they can have good years for, let's say this year, next year. Like he can get fired after a good year. That's how good like this team is.
To Denver, he gets fired.
What?
They lose to Denver this year. You think with this head coaching carousel going on right now, with Vrabel available or whatever?
I don't know. I don't think this year, but I do think he could like lose a playoff game and get fired eventually. Like he's in that territory of like you getting to the point where just making the playoffs or just winning one round or whatever. Like you're like. They got pantsed by the fucking Bengals at home a couple years ago in the snow. If like something like that happens again, where they have like a bad playoff, maybe let's say the Broncos win fucking 28.
Yeah, if the Broncos go 38-0 on them, just like they did the Chiefs.
Well, the Chiefs, it's not they just.
I know. Not the Chiefs, the Chiefs juniors. But
let's just say they get pantsed by the Broncos, and it's a possibility. But we'll keep it moving. So there's 2 teams left. Which one do you think is going to be number 1, and which one do you think is going to be number 2? It's the Lions and the Bucs.
Lions and the Bucs. Wow, because you're the Baker guy. I forgot. You're the big Baker guy. I like the Bucs too. Like I lived in Tampa, as you know. That's when our podcast first kicked off, and we were doing it remotely. It was when I was living in Tampa, so I have an affinity towards Tampa a little bit. But at the same time, and I love Big Mike. But I don't like
You love Michelle Obama? Big Mike?
Oh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. I know what you're doing now. I didn't understand it at first. Now I got it. Yeah. I like.
So who do you think I want number one, and who do you think I want number two out of those teams?
What? Are you kidding? Between those two teams, you're fucking Baker Mayfield all the way. Number one. Are you crazy? I know exactly who I'm looking at. For the record, if they win the Super Bowl, you can count on me for the jersey. How about that?
All right, bet. If they win the Super Bowl or make the Super Bowl.
If they win the Super Bowl, but I'll only agree to it is if you buy me a Lad McConkey jersey if the Chargers win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, fine. That's cool.
Perfect.
I like that. That's fun.
Done. Shake.
That's fun.
Perfect. Love that. But Bucks are cool. I know I want to let you get your piece off about Baker, but talk to us about what you think. But I'm not a Bulls guy. Is the last thing I was gonna say there. That's it.
Okay, so you have the Lions as your favorite. I have the Bucks as my favorite, but we're both kind of like in that vein of 1 and 2, or you have the Bucks way further down.
Well, I have the Rams and the Bills ahead of Detroit, but Detroit would be number 3 on my list.
Okay, cool. All right, and just because we were talking about jerseys, real quick, I was debating whether or not I want to do this on the podcast, but I'm gonna fire it off. I came up with a new resolution, and it's to do an open mic stand up this year.
Wow!
And I've been writing some jokes. So we talk about jerseys. So this is like one of the jokes I came up with, and I want to hear it. So you shouldn't usually give out your podcast. I mean, your stand-up bits on a podcast, but no one fucking listens to this shit anyway. So
yeah, it's just our boys.
I don't think anyone's gonna steal it.
Our boys are checking in every now and then. I see it. The number goes to like number 4, number 6, and then 3.
So here's the joke. It's like, and obviously it's not fucking done. I'm working on it, whatever. But it's like, I like to collect jerseys, instead of like jewelry because I'm poor. Obviously when you hunt for like cool, authentic jerseys, you see lots of shit. I think one of the craziest things I've seen is the camouflage jerseys. Those guys, they put on those jerseys and they go hunting for heroin. And, and not to confuse those guys with the salute to service military appreciation jersey guys. Those guys, they also go hunting for stolen valor and pussy. So
that would be good. No, I think I actually like it. It's got a little zing. It's got a little zing for sure. I think the valor, I would maybe look at that word because I don't know how many people would.
Well, stolen valor is what like people who dress up as people in the military but aren't in the military. So
right. So but I'm saying like that word is a good
jersey. Word. You want people to assume that you're like a former military.
Yeah, you're like associated with the military. You're like a former Army Corp.
Yeah, and I like in Philly, like I was like I have like something I can spin off it with, like with the heroin thing. It's like I did that joke in Kensington and everyone's head popped up really fast, like shit like that, So I think that has some legs to it. I got some other maybe we'll do like some other bits throughout. You definitely know
the cadence, which is good. A big thing with jokes obviously is beyond the material. I can't say anything.
It's the misdirect. It's like they put on that camouflage.
It's the
camouflage and they go hunting and then you pause.
Right. It's cadence. It's all about how you say things.
And it might be like for Xanax or so I could change like what drug, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I could switch it up, so.
Or you can just like look. You can go to a different type of jersey, and then I see someone in a Color Rush jersey, and I know this person looks for kids.
It's
I'm
gay.
like, whatever, like whatever, like you're just fucking around. But like,
I like the first two parts of it at least. I think that has legs.
Funny, and I like it. The ebb and flow of it. It's funny.
Yeah, I think it has legs. For stolen valor,
I'll go to your open mic if you give me a heads up and let me know. I would come.
Yeah, we'll try to figure something out. But I want to be pretty good. Like I got to practice it and like have. I want it to be good.
A lot.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure I'll do bad, but I mean, like before I even go, I'm not gonna go up there and be like, oh, like you know what I mean? Like I'm.
You definitely want to at least
practice in the mirror, like having 3 minutes or whatever the fucking time is. Like
you also should record yourself so you can hear it.
Yeah.
It would be painful, but
But no, I got some bits written down. We'll go on, and then but yeah, I just love Baker Mayfield, so I want him to win a Super Bowl. I love his story. Fucking, I watched a video fucking today where it was like the drive that saved the career, and it was when the Panthers cut him, and then he went to the Rams and played like 2 days later after being signed
to Van Jefferson. Was it?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Van Jefferson with 9 seconds left, 2-minute drill. They went like 90 yards in 2 minutes to fucking win the game when the Rams kind of needed that game. That was awesome.
Disgusting too. It was the most ugly. You couldn't find a player on that team rated over 70 on Madden.
Everybody was hurt. Everyone
was hurt. There was no one on that team. It was just
the quarterback was hurt. Everybody's hurt.
Everyone was hurt. Literally, the whole team was fucked up. Yeah,
it was awesome. It was a hell of a drive, and I just want
Sean McVay for getting Baker back in the fold, for calling masterful plays on that drive as well. Love you, Sean, for that.
Yeah. I'm so happy Baker got paid. They played really well this year, but then they also lost to the Cowboys. Their secondary is going to have a lot of trouble this week. I think guarding McLaurin. If they try to isolate him, they did crush the Commanders
Olamide.
week 1.
My boy Olamide.
Zacchaeus?
Yeah, that's my boy.
We'll see. And then
Jaden Daniels 2 weeks.
Jaden Daniels is very special, dude. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm pulling for the Bucs. Commanders, like we said, second to last to win. And then the Lions, obviously they don't have a matchup this week, so we don't have to wax too poetic about them. We'll talk again before they play probably next weekend.
Yep.
But the Lions were so bad for so long, and this iteration of the Lions is just cool. I was talking about one video I watched earlier. Mm-hmm. This video I watched, another video I watched today was started off the Chiefs and it was playing Taylor Swift music, and it was Worthy catching a touchdown, and then it would crash out real quick and be and it just throw a little lion, and it'd be done it, and then it'd go back, and then eventually went to done it, and it's gonna lose in sleep. And it's the Lions making sick plays.
If you find that, send that edit to me.
All right, I'll send it to you. Yeah, sick edit. That's the word I was looking for. But yeah, the Lions are a cool-ass team. I don't know if Montgomery's coming back. I know you had your finger on the pulse.
It's done. Already done. Already practicing. It's done.
That's sick. So Montgomery and Gibbs, Sonic and Knuckles back together. Amon-Ra, your boy Laporta, towards the end of the season started making himself more and more felt. Jamison Williams on the low.
And fuck you, but you're there.
Nowhere near how I like Baker, but I like Jared Goff. I've always been a Jared Goff guy. I always thought he got too much hate.
I completely agree, and he was my dynasty quarterback.
You were a hater. You were one of the haters of Jared Goff.
Not true.
You said Daniel Jones was a better quarterback than Jared Goff, and you died on that hill.
That was 2 years ago.
You argued it vehemently.
But be clear, my opinion has updated with him. When he was when his last year on the Rams and moving over to Detroit and all that shit, I still didn't know about him. And Daniel Jones was still getting better. And then Daniel Jones won a playoff game. So the hill to die on was just being set up for me to fall and get hung from. But beyond that, I completely walk it back, of course. And Goff, I drafted in my dynasty, which shows proof that I did update my opinion, believed in him, and he brought me home with a championship this year by playing outstanding football most of the time. So got nothing but love and respect now for Jared Goff, who is solidified himself as a top 10 quarterback in football.
Well, when everyone was still hating on him, I had his back always.
You said that he always was capable. The word you always used was he's capable.
No, I said he was good, and I gave him credit for going to the Super Bowl, and everyone just shits on him because they played bad in the Super Bowl. He still led a team to a Super Bowl as the quarterback in his second year. I get it. Gurley went off. They had a good team. But, dude, getting a Super Bowl in that young of a player, it means a lot. But let's do a quick Hots Corner. We got 5 minutes before these games get kicked off, or the game gets kicked off.
I'm
trying to go with ones. What is the who is the greatest point guard of all time?
Point guard? I guess if we're just Magic Johnson.
What is the best rookie season of all time in any sport?
Best rookie season for any time for any sport. Wow. Probably MJ. I like MJ for that one. His rookie
That's a good one. Least favorite rapper of all time.
Least favorite rapper. Probably West Side Gun.
What is the goat vegetable?
The goat vegetable. Peppers.
All right, and then I'll do one. I'm cutting stuff out because we're time, but 9 players have rushed for 2,000 yards in a season. Can you name them? Or how many can you name? I did this first try by the record. I got every single one.
Okay.
Probably won't do that, but I'll give it a go. Saquon,
Correct.
Dickerson,
Correct.
Barry,
Correct.
Emmett.
No.
Never did it.
No.
Okay. O.J. Simpson.
Correct.
Derrick Henry.
Correct.
Marshall Faulk.
No.
No, just total yards. LT.
No.
LaDainian Tomlinson never did it. What?
No.
Wow, that's crazy. 2,000 yards. Did Sean Alexander do it?
No.
He broke, but he led the. He had a rushing title. Sure. How many do I have so far?
You have Saquon, Dickerson, OJ, Barry Sanders, and Derrick Henry. So you have 5 of 9.
Okay. Thanks for the recap. Let me think. Eddie George?
No, same team. Come on, bro.
Same team?
Same team, not at the same time, but same team. Titans, 2,000 yards. Not Derrick Henry did it also.
Oh, yeah.
Another Titan.
Otis.
No. There's no Otis.
Probably going to kill me.
You're thinking of Houston Oilers, Earl Campbell, and somehow said Otis. But that's not right. But I'm just saying, you thought of Earl Campbell and said Otis, and I knew who you were talking about. That's like the wavelengths we're on right now. I don't know, but that's the wavelength we're on right now.
That's sick. You're a sicko.
Blank 2K. Blank 2K. It was his nickname.
Oh, Chris Johnson. Fuck me. Sorry. Jeez.
All right. Baltimore Raven.
Jamal Lewis.
Correct. Denver Bronco.
Terrell Davis.
Correct. Minnesota Viking. Oklahoma Sooner. Minnesota Viking.
Someone's slipping my brain.
Beat his kid with a belt.
Oh, AP. Oh.
Yeah, we got to get your trivia game up. But we'll just go over stuff now.
I've never really been a trivia kid. I learn things and I know you see how you just say the littlest thing, it'll cue me, but I can't. Your ability to pull it from the sky is insane. If you give me an inkling of any information, I will be able to find it. But
2,000-yard rushers, you got to memorize 9 of them. Isn't that that's not pulling out of the sky?
I've never even seen the list personally.
But I look at rushing leaders all time. Like you're saying, Sean Alexander led the league in rushing. He had 16,081 yards. I could say that. 1,681 yards. Excuse me. But greatest point guard of all time, Magic Johnson. My list was Stockton, Magic, and Curry. You want to rank those real quick?
Probably Magic, Curry, Stockton.
Okay, I like that. Best rookie season of all time in any sport, Michael Jordan. Great poll. Had 60 points against the Celtics in that. Everyone's like...
That year 2 came back for the playoffs.
Everyone was like, oh, MJ got swept in the playoffs his rookie year in the GOAT argument with LeBron. He also dropped 60 on Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson, Cedric Maxwell, one of the greatest teams of all time.
Also, go look at that Bulls roster.
Yeah, you can't name guys but
janitors.
That was pre-Pippen, pre-Rodman. Yeah, exactly.
Pre-everything.
Pre-cum, exactly.
Pre-everything.
I had Ichiro. I think he won the MVP and the Rookie of the Year. That was my answer there. The GOAT vegetable, I had Stephen Hawking.
That's funny if you did that in a crowd surf.
Yeah. You're like, oh, what's your goat vegetable? What's your goat vegetable? They're like peppers. I got Stephen Hawking. Yeah. But I wrote Stephen Hawking joke there.
I have Stephen Hawking. Everyone have a good night. Just end the set. Done.
Least favorite rapper of all time. You said West Side Gun. I'm not familiar, and it seems like I'm happy to be not familiar. So what I wrote down for this one was OJ the Juice Man, and he had a freshman freestyle. It went freshman of the year like a basketball player, 7 rings on like a basketball player. Yeah, man, I'm one, I'm the shit. Yeah, man, I'm one, I'm the shit. That was his whole freestyle for the freshman.
No way.
I swear to God, look up OJ the Juiceman freshman's freestyle.
That's not even a rapper. That sounds like someone that should be a Joanio. That doesn't even sound like a human.
It was the worst freestyle of all time. Made me so mad that he got on the cover of Double XL magazine and he had that as his thing.
I don't like that Lil Dicky guy either as a rapper. He's a funny guy, but I don't like his rap.
Fair enough. Yeah, he's very much like he's like every kid in college who freestyled, including me.
He's like, yeah.
yeah. He's not like super talented.
That got famous.
Yeah, he's just very much like
He's actually from the hip hop scene and like fucked with like Sir Michael Rocks and that crew.
He's a Jewish kid.
Yeah, whatever. The cool, what was that crew? The Cool Kids or whatever it was.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't.
But no, he's not like a Mac Miller or like some of the legit white rappers. You know what I mean? Yeah. But and then we went over the 9 players who have ran for 2,000 yards. You did pretty good, and like you said, with little hints, you got it pretty quick. Adrian Peterson, I shouldn't have to bring up beating his kid with a belt. You should have got that off.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Vikings in Oklahoma.
He always slips my. I don't know how.
Yeah, hell of a player. But yeah, the games are kicking off. You're starting to lag anyway.
Yes, sir.
Love you, Sixers, Hot Sets, Dreamers. That was a fun one. Obviously, love talking NFL. Always an exclusive NFL episode, but it's super fucking wild card weekend. What else do you want us to do?
Football, baby. We're lagging. I don't know why we're lagging. I think that's the world telling us that we should hop off. So, GG's. We love you all, Sixers.
Peace.
We'll be back next week. Peace.